for open
Recording
forum?
in progress.
I'm not seeing anything. So let's go on to our 7:05 agenda item. Review the FY23 town manager recommended budget adjustments.
Right, I'll put this up on the screen just so we have it here. So we do have one adjustment to the select board budget. We want to increase that budget by $6,000 per the request of the select board. They want to add an additional ballot question for the Indigenous Peoples Day. They need some money here to hang banners for town meeting. That's now the town manager's responsibility. And they also want to restore funding for the strategic planning event, which we're trying to hold sometime in the fall. So we just took the $6,000 from the allowance for abatements and exemptions. So this is really the only change to the budget. But we want to alert you.
Okay. Does anyone have any questions on that? If you rate, I can't see everyone. So if you click the raise hand, then I'll see you. But I'm not seeing any questions. Okay, and that's just to let us know, Dan, right? You don't need a vote from us or anything. We'll just
No.
that with the full budget.
That's right. So when I get to the budget article, you vote then.
Okay.
Right.
Okay, so I'm gonna move on to reviewing the FY22, so current budget transfers.
Great. I'm going to share my screen again. So we put all these on there and I'll run through them quickly. And if you have questions, we do have department heads here to answer those. So starting from the top, we're requesting $215,000 be transferred to the school computers. We've done this the past 3 years with the the June town meeting. It's not enough time for Mike and his team to get the Chromebooks ready for the incoming freshmen each year. So we've been going through this process each year. We are transferring the money from the recycling processing fees, where we had a budget of $225,000, and we've actually been earning money on the recyclables this year, so that money is available to transfer. The schools are absorbing $13,000 of that cost in their operating budget. Moving down, the police are requesting a transfer from their patrol wages, $30,000 for gasoline and $2,200 for training. They had an unexpected vacancy this year, and they had to pay for an additional recruit to go to training. And the gasoline, we all know what's going on with that. So this is to get us through the end of the year. Fire, they're looking for $21,496 for gasoline. This is coming from the street lighting electricity account, which we have a large credit with National Grid due to the upgrade to LED lighting for those lights. And then down below, we have a couple of debt-related transfers. The first one is from the MSBA Abbott Roof project. There was an invoice that we received for this project well over a year once we completed the project. We do owe the money, so this is the mechanism in order to actually pay that invoice rather than have to bond for it. So what we'll do is we'll transfer money from the debt service account into the school encumbrance account, then we can pay that invoice. Down below here, we have the Pine Grove Cemetery expansion. We're thinking the general fund portion is going to be $70,000 max. They're going to try to finish up that project this fiscal year. So rather than bond this project and pay for all those associated costs, what we're recommending is that we take the money that will close up from debt service and just transfer it to the capital projects fund. And that way we don't have future debt payments on this project. The same goes for the school radios, where it's only $108,000. If we transfer money from debt service to the school capital project fund, we can just pay this off and not pay interest in all the associated bonding costs.
Okay. And I assume you need a vote from us, Dan?
We do need a vote from you and from the select board on Tuesday night to make this official.
Okay, so does anyone have any questions?
No.
Again, I'm not seeing anybody. Oh, wait, there we go. Heather, okay.
So did the cemetery, the proceeds from some of that end up paying for any of that expansion or not?
Yeah, we took all the money from the sale of lots fund first, so that was zeroed out, and then the excess went to the general fund bond. So what will happen is we'll just pay the $70,000 through the general fund, then we'll rescind the borrowing authorization at future town meeting, most likely in October.
Anybody have any other questions?
No.
Okay, somebody want to make a motion to, is it approve or recommend this? Approve?
To approve.
To approve, okay.
I make a motion to approve FY22 budget transfers as requested.
I'll second it.
Okay, all in favor, I'll call Tom,
Aye.
Heather,
Yes.
Ari,
Yes.
Ingrid,
Yes.
Dennis,
Aye.
Jeff,
Aye.
Beth,
Aye.
and I'm an aye. So that passes.
Great, thank you.
Okay. So our next agenda item is an FY22 request to increase revolving funds for the Agricultural Commission.
So Jesse has actually been working with the Agricultural Commission on this. Do you want to give a little background, Jesse?
Yeah, I can update everyone. So just a quick little background. So the revolving fund spending limits, we'll actually be talking about them, the FY23 limits during Article 10 tonight. What we're actually, the purpose of those is to set a spending limit every year for these revolving funds, which if you remember, the money comes in, the money goes out. So the Department of Revenue asks us every year to establish these spending limits, because what someone, theoretically could do without these limits is deposit departmental receipts or something like that that they receive during the year and essentially spend things without an appropriation. So that spending limit prevents at least a limit on what could be spent. So why we're here tonight and what this agenda item is asking for is the Agricultural Commissions, and specifically the community gardens, this year, due to a number of factors, COVID being one of them, and compost not being able to be applied for the last couple of years on the garden, as well as what we realized is that the first couple of years of compost application was paid for by community preservation. So this has never come up as an issue, but right now they're at their limit, or they're like $50 shy of the $10,000 spending limit for FY22. And they're hoping with your approval in the select board on Tuesday night to increase that limit for the rest of this year, $5,000 to a total of $15,000 for the year. And then we would increase the limit 15,000 going forward every year. Compost is only applied every 2 to 3 years. So on the off years, we'd probably only be looking to spend about 3,500 to 5,000. But on the years where they have to apply compost, it could be, 12 to 13,000. So they are just looking for a little extra room to be able to do that.
Anyone have any questions on that? Oh, Tom.
Yeah, just for clarification, I know we approved these limits at town meeting. Is there any concern about changing it after the town meeting has voted for a certain limit?
So it's a good question, Tom. I actually had to look because I don't remember ever having to do this. And in fact, there were several people, I've talked to a couple of people surprised that there even was spending limits. I looked at the Mass General Law and kind of like the budget transfers that were just approved with FinCom and Select Board approval. You can increase the limit during the year in the same type of way that that you just recommended the budget transfers. So.
Okay. Anyone else have a question? Somebody want to make a motion to approve the increase?
Make a motion to approve increasing the spending limit to $15,000.
Thanks, sorry.
Second.
Second. Okay. All in favor? Tom,
Aye.
Heather,
Aye.
Hari,
Aye.
Ingrid,
Aye.
Dennis,
Aye.
Jeff,
Aye.
Beth,
Aye.
and I'm an aye. So that passes unanimously also. Okay, next item. And so now we're getting into the warrant articles. Article 1 is to authorize the use of electronic vote tabulators at town meeting, and I debated about putting this on our agenda and decided that I'll put it on here and we'll just discuss it. There isn't a dollar figure associated with this article specifically, but I think it was like $12,800 of ARPA money was approved by the select board to purchase the vote tabulators. So it is a financial implication or obligation going forward. So I just wanted to see if the committee thinks that we should take a position on this or not.
Well, my conversation.
Are you have a question?
Yeah,
Yep.
sorry. I thought I raised my, okay. So when we go to town meeting, raise hands, there is a question about counting and recounting, things like that, right? All of that will be eliminated with electronic counting. It's once and all. Will there be an appeal process like people do in town meeting with manual voting? That, oh no, it's not one. I don't think it is. You have reached the majority like that.
So I guess first, before we get into the specifics of this article, I just want to get a feeling for whether we should even take a position or not. And then if we want to take a position, we can discuss the specifics of the article. Heather?
In my opinion, we shouldn't take a position on this. I know a couple meetings ago at town meeting, they said they didn't like the idea of electronic voting, so I would just prefer that it go to town meeting without our input.
Okay. Tom, did you?
That was covered. Thank you.
Okay. And Beth?
I guess my question is this like every year it's going to be an expense, or is this a one-time?
It would be a one-time until we need to replace them. And
So
Angela, I see, I'm sorry, go ahead.
It wouldn't be a yearly expense.
It would not be a yearly expense. Nope. Angela has her hand up, Angela Harkness, so maybe she can weigh in on this.
Hi, everyone. So I understand there might be some reluctance, but I would ask if you could for you to take a position on this. I've done a lot of work on researching whether it's going to be helpful for us at town meeting, and not just myself, also with a subgroup of people, including Tom Barry and Mike Wells and Steve Edwards from CAT. And we've had interviews with the various providers, and I feel, and I've also been lately making presentations to various community groups, including the seniors and the league. And it's really going to be a huge time saver if the town approves it. So obviously I would like to have the support of the FinCom if you see fit. And I appreciate being invited tonight because I'm happy to answer any questions that you guys might have about whether or not it would be a good thing, and what the expense would be. Just to answer Beth's question, that $12,000 expense that the company says that they last about 5 years. There are towns that have been using them for up to 10 years. So it's going to be spread out over that period of time. And the only maintenance is batteries, which are 70 cents a piece, and they last about 3 years, according to the company. So obviously, whatever you decide is what you decide, but I would appreciate if you would consider taking a position on this for town meeting.
Okay. Hey, Dan, would you mind putting it down just so that I can see people? Thank you. Heather?
Sorry.
Oh, okay.
I still don't know that it's a FinCom issue. I'm totally for him, Angela, just so you know. I voted for him last time. It doesn't seem like with the finance not having any relevance just because there's no cost associated with it. It's immaterial.
Okay. Dennis, did you have your hand up?
Yeah, I just wanted to add, I'm glad Angela's here. I know that there was some follow-up discussion with some additional folks. I'm not aware of what transpired and how that came out. But we've had some original discussions about, I had some conversation with Angela about some of the rules, like, for example, whether or not that would preserve the standing vote. But I haven't seen anything in writing yet. I haven't seen anything put down, how it's gonna, what the rules are. So I don't feel comfortable taking a position on it tonight. I mean, I'll be certainly willing to listen to it and open to it at the town meeting, but I'd probably abstain from the vote tonight.
Okay, anybody else have any input? So with that, I'm thinking we don't take a formal position on this, if everyone's okay with that.
Yeah.
All right, so I think we just won't take a formal position, but Angela, obviously, I am also in favor personally, so we will be listening. Thank you for coming. Okay. All right, so let's go on to Article 2, accept town reports.
So again, this is an article that we have each year where the finance committee usually just accepts the town report, which just came out yesterday. If anybody needs a copy.
Okay, so anybody have any questions on that?
Just a question is, so we do have to opine on that because of the physical aspects of it, or is it just a pro forma administrative thing?
Really just an administrative thing. It's what's been in the past, so.
All right, fine. You want to vote on it? Fine.
Does anyone have any other questions? Or are we ready for a motion?
I'm moved to support it.
Okay, so a motion to recommend Article 2. Can I get a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor? Tom,
Aye.
Heather,
Aye.
Hari,
Aye.
Ingrid,
Aye.
Dennis,
Aye.
Jeff,
Aye.
Beth,
Aye.
and I'm an aye, so that passes. Thanks. Okay, Article 3, approve fiscal year 2022 budget adjustments.
Great, so since we have the budget transfers now, we usually have very few supplemental appropriations. So what we have here is a snow and ice deficit from this year. We had earmarked 400,000 and we came in about $165,000 less than that. So it was a good snow and ice year.
Yeah,
Okay.
good.
Anyone have questions on that? That's
No, that's easy.
kind of the standard. Yeah. Could I get a motion to recommend?
Motion
So-
recommended. Yep. Second.
Okay, did you get that, Dan? All right, so all in favor, Tom,
Aye.
Heather,
Aye.
Hari,
Aye.
Ingrid,
Aye.
Dennis,
Aye.
Jeff,
Aye.
Beth,
Aye.
and I'm an aye. So that passes. Okay, Article 4, appropriate for perchlorate expenses.
Okay, and Eric did put together a budget for this. It's in your packet. We're estimating that we need 45,000 for the next fiscal year to pay the associated cost of chloride cleanup.
Okay, anyone have questions on this?
One.
Good, Dennis?
Dan, how long does this continue? You see end of it, into it, or what?
I'm actually going to defer to Jody on that one.
I think we're getting close to finishing. If you've noticed, the sum has gone down in recent years. We still have some testing to do, but we are hopeful that we will be closing this out within the next maybe year or two.
Great. Anyone have anything else? Could I get a motion to recommend Article 4?
Motion to
moved.
recommend Article 4.
Second.
Second. All in favor, Tom,
Aye.
Heather,
Aye.
Hari,
Aye.
Ingrid,
Aye.
Dennis,
Aye.
Jeff,
Aye.
Beth,
Aye.
and I'm an aye. So that passes. Okay, Article 5, approve capital appropriations.
Okay, this is, these are the capital items that we discussed during the first budget hearing back at the beginning of March. I don't know if you want me to go through them or if anybody has questions on any of these. Best way to do this.
No. Went through it pretty good.
Does anyone have questions off the top of their, that they already know that they have, or
I'm good.
I'm not really, Jody?
Yeah, I might mention, I don't know if Dan told you this, but we did have the $1 million placeholder for the HVAC at the senior center in here, which we did remove, and it will be in a separate article. So I just wanted to mention that if you noticed or didn't know.
Mhm. Actually, I think the other thing that I'll call attention to is that 51 Main would have been a separate article anyway, but that's been removed from overall capital for this town meeting. So do people, Tom, go ahead.
I'm just going to ask this because if anyone goes to watch the video, I know the answer generally, but the school department asking for a dump truck and the highway department asking for a dump truck, they cannot be shared, correct? Just so if anyone does view it, we do answer that question early.
I thought there were two different kinds of trucks.
Yeah, we do have Paul Fox out here who's
Yeah.
raising his hand as well.
Paul, can you comment on that?
Absolutely.
Thanks.
I don't want to speak for Steve. I just know that we have two totally different operations. Our vehicles on the school side are fully staffed at all times, and this is a replacement vehicle to continue up with my operations and staffing. And so it would be it'd be almost impossible to even consider sharing.
Thank you. That's what I thought the answer was.
Yep.
Okay, Heather?
Sorry. I just wanted to point out that the capital committee took an 8-1 vote, and I was the one that dissented. And the reason I did is because I didn't agree with the 51 Main purchase yet. I feel like we should kind of look at that in conjunction with the school feasibility study, especially since it would be housing departments that work with the schools quite a bit, technology and the buildings. But anyway, capital only votes as the whole, not individually. So it's a all or nothing kind of vote.
Okay, if nobody has any other questions, then are we ready for a motion to recommend?
I'll make a motion to recommend.
Thanks, Heather. Can we get a second?
I'll second.
Okay. All in favor? Tom,
Aye.
Heather,
Aye.
Hari,
Aye.
Ingrid? I see you waving, Ingrid.
Sorry, hi.
Dennis? Dennis,
Aye.
Jeff,
Aye.
Beth,
Aye.
and I'm an aye. So that passes. Article 6, appropriation for Cameron Senior Center HVAC project and enter into an energy management services agreement. Is Paul, are you speaking to this, or Jody, go ahead?
I'll start and then Paul may want to jump in, but so originally we had the $1 million in the capital, as I mentioned. The price came in, the estimate, at least at this point, came in at 1.6. So it was higher than we had anticipated. The select board did give 500,000 of ARPA towards it at their last meeting. But I think we also had an article to enter into the energy management services agreement, but it was on a much larger scale. And we really were not ready to bring that forward. So what we did is we talked to the company and asked if they would just continue with the HVAC at the senior center, and we enter into the agreement for just this project, and they did agree. So that's why it was pulled out separately. And And so we're going to be handling this as a separate capital. So that's if, and Paul's here too, if you have more questions, but we will be entering, if the town meeting approves, this energy management services agreement, which basically, and Paul can correct me if I'm misstating, but that the energy savings that they have projected for us to receive based on this new equipment, they are tied in and agreeing to that. And if we don't hit that number, then they will write us a check to meet that goal. So that's in a nutshell, the explanation. So.
Thanks, Jody. Paul, do you have anything to add to that before we go into questions?
I can't follow that up. Jody did a great job.
Okay. Anyone have questions on this? And again, if you can use the hand, it'll be easier for me. Oh, Jody, do you have a?
So I will just add that we are going to be having weekly meetings with Amoresco, the company that we're hoping to enter this agreement. And if any of you are interested in attending those meetings virtually, we're happy to have you join us. Not as much for this project, which is fine, but moving forward, there are a lot of capital projects that they are recommending improvements. So this will be an ongoing, project, and we're very happy to have any of you join us if you'd like to. Thank you.
Thanks. I think I already said I wanted to as part of capital. But if I didn't, if you could add me to the list, I'd appreciate that, Jody. And Tom?
Yeah, I think the one thing that I struggle with on this is, I know that it needs to be done. And I think there's going to be other residents that will struggle with it as well. The fact that this building and theoretically that system are not really that old. So just kind of cautionary going forward with building projects. And I know, Paul, you weren't involved. So I'm sure you're more on top of it. Just a concern, and I'm sure someone else will raise that as well.
I have a similar concern, although I would support this article. Jody, do you want to comment on that?
Yeah, and then Paul, but I think one of the reasons that we are proponents of entering into these energy management service agreements is because we will not have to take low bid on these types of things, which is something that did happen when we built this building. And we think that has resulted in not only this building, but other buildings not having the equipment that we would have recommended had we not had that confine. So that's what we're hoping to gain in the future. We might pay a little more upfront, but hopefully we're getting better equipment that will be serviceable for much longer. And I don't know if Paul has something to add to that.
I was just going to add quick, after doubling down on the Chapter 25A, it's an amazing mechanism that a way for any project to really be more specific with quality and both with the vendors that come in and the materials that come in. But in addition to that, the Permanent Town Building Committee and the Energy Committee had a substantial say in this project. They were involved in every single meeting and really helped guide the process for determining a project. We vetted out over 8 different options to finally settle on one option. And one of our main criteria that we carried forward was to make sure that in the future, it was going to be an easier system to take care of and maintain. That is exactly what this system is. The life expectancy of this system is overall 50 years. At the 25-year mark, at about the halfway mark, you are going to need to replace some systems, much like I replace boilers in a lot of my systems now. We'll need to replace some heat pumps. But other than that, this system's expected to last 50 years. The current system that's in place right now was a first generation, only designed to last 20 years. So you fell short of it, but it was a first generation of its kind as well, not with a long life expectancy regardless.
Thanks, Paul. Heather?
Oh, I'm not really sure who this question is for, but I'm curious, based on what Paul just said, how come no other committees voted on this? I mean, I know it went to capital, but it went to capital as a different item. We had a capital meeting within the last month where we went over the options, but we never really voted on anything. So I guess I'm just curious why it's only going to be select board and FinCom at the bottom.
Jody?
Yeah, I was at that Capitol meeting too, Heather, and honestly, I don't know why they didn't vote on it. We did not see any disagreement from them, but I don't believe a vote was called for. So we could certainly reach out to Paul Hajar and see if he is willing to meet again. I think actually, Dan, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think he did indicate that we would have another meeting before town meeting. But, you know, I agree with you. We didn't take a vote, but they seem to no one was objecting to what we presented.
So I'm also wondering about Permanent Town Building Committee, which Paul just mentioned, that vetted it.
Yeah, if I could quickly speak on that, both Permanent Town Building Committee and Energy Committee did have a formal vote to move forward in this direction.
You know, we haven't added them in underneath the recommendations, but you know, as long as the select board don't object, I think we could certainly add those votes and try to get a vote from Capitol. Dan, if you could reach out to Paul on that, I think that would be helpful. So thank you, Heather.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. I think the other thing that I want to point out to people is that this more expensive system is a lot more energy efficient. And I don't know about the exact dollars, but operating costs should be lower, correct me if I'm wrong, Paul, than at least one of the other options, if not both of them.
So this project is 3 times more efficient. However, since we're moving from a gas product to an electrical product, electricity is 3 times more expensive. So
right.
operating budget is going to be neutral. We are just going to need to move some line from the gas budget to the utility budget. But again, overall, it's 3 times more efficient. But one of the major factors here is that it's projected to reduce the carbon emissions by 3 times the amount. And that was an overall priority of the town.
Right. And I think it also at least gives us the option that if we were to put solar on this building, then we would be getting the electricity from that.
Correct.
And eventually would be sort of free. Go ahead, Jody.
And just to clarify, that is what this energy management services agreement is, that if it doesn't achieve what Paul just stated, then that company will be on the hook to pay us the difference. So that's kind of a nice little aspect.
Right. I have a question on that energy management service agreement. How does it work with them just taking this one project on? I assume we still have that $75,000 break fee out there, correct? Or Jody?
Yes, so that's why we're forming this group to move forward and look at all their recommendations and decide which ones we're interested in and which ones we're not. I don't know the exact breaking point on this project. I'm sure it's pretty low compared to others. I don't know if Paul's got a figure, but you know, basically they have recommended about $8 or $9 million worth of improvements to the town, and with energy savings that will help offset the debt or, you know, perhaps offset the debt. So we need to delve into that more deeply. But yes, we need to move forward and identify projects that make sense, or we would end up owing them money back. So.
Okay. And how do they get their fee paid for out of this? Is this worked into the bonding somehow?
Paul, do you want to speak to that? I'm kind of just getting up to speed on all this.
Absolutely. So they do put their overhead costs in here, which are way identified in the beginning, even to the point where when they initially submitted their bid to be the energy performance contract, all that information is known up front. So they will solicit quotes right in front of our faces, and we'll see their markup price in there for their project management and oversight and assistance for this project. So they have identified and outlined the budget of 1.6, and that includes their fee as well as the construction that's needed to include their professional services that will be needed for this project.
Okay. Heather?
Sorry, I kind of had the same question you did, and I'm looking at the budget and I still don't really understand where they make their money off of this, because I see parts and labor.
It's noted at the bottom of that budget sheet. It's noted that all the parts, it's a markup in all the parts. At the bottom of it, there's a
I-
little asterisk.
Gotcha.
Okay, anyone else have any questions?
I think Dennis does as well.
Okay, Tom, and then I'll go to Dennis.
Sorry, just one thing. So we keep hearing 1 point. Oh, sorry, I just remembered you said that ARPA covered the other 500,000, correct? Okay, I just, sorry about
Oops,
Jody, did you have something to add?
I do. So also the town just received a grant for $350,000 from the state that's for COVID-related needs. And so we are looking at whether we could take some of that and put it towards the senior center too. So in fact, this number may even go down further. But at this point, we're getting close to town meeting, so we want to move forward. And then if we're able to reduce it, we will, or we won't spend the certain amount and we're thinking, let's see, 275,000, give or take, from the grant towards this, which would reduce the appropriation too. So we had a meeting on that today. We have to submit a budget to the state by the end of June. But we think that because this is HVAC, which is COVID related, you know, with the quality of air and so on, we hope that we can apply that to the grant and reduce this further.
Okay, thanks. Dennis?
Yep. What's the name of the company that you're entering the agreement with?
Amoresco, this was voted by the select board many months ago. There was an RFP process. Many people were involved and they did select Amoresco as the company.
Second question is what's the duration of the agreement?
20 years, I believe.
20
If the
years.
board, if the town meeting does adopt that, it says it right here in the article, up to 20 years, but we can get out anytime if we want to, I believe, too.
Now, that's my last question is, what's the provision for breaking off the agreement, and is there any payoff cost or anything like that to get out of it?
I can't answer that, Dennis. I don't know, Paul, if you can.
I was going to speak and say that alternatively, it's in our best interest. We don't have to use them on any project, but really it's holding them accountable for 20 years, making sure that we see the savings that are agreed upon. So although the savings from an operational standpoint, although it's still budget neutral, if for some reason we see the savings go in the complete wrong direction, we'll hold Amoresco accountable and say, look, we were supposed to receive X amount of savings and we're not receiving it. And therefore they have to write us a check. And that's part of the value that's seen in Chapter 25A, is that not only are you able to go out there and get really high quality vendors and high quality equipment that you want to spec out specifically, but more importantly, Amoresco becomes a highly vested player in the town's operations to make sure that we are hitting our goals. And they carefully monitor the construction to make sure that their projections line up with the construction aspect of it. So they become highly on our side as these projects and construction projects happen, because they don't want to write us a check. They want us to hit that number that they said that we were going to hit.
Well, I mean, I have no reason to doubt Amoresco's motivations, but I do know in history of government and vendors, there's always issues. And I just wanted to try to get a better picture of, if you want out, is there any downside that the town faces, or can you just break clean?
Well, I'll definitely have to double check on it. I'll put it as a piece of homework. I would assume that you can just break clean, because I don't know what would go against us for this. We don't owe them anything after these projects take place.
All right, that's good. That's good.
Thanks, Paul. Heather?
I guess my question is almost the opposite. What kind of leverage do you have to make sure they do write you a check if things don't go as planned? I mean, one of the reasons we're in a mess with this is because the previous vendor was not around anymore. And I think we've had that on a couple different things over time. So I guess that's my concern. And then I'll let you answer in just a second, but my last comment would be, because of all of this, and because capital hasn't weighed in on it, maybe we can vote on this at our next meeting.
Paul,
So-
or Jody, do you want to go before Paul, or?
Paul can go.
My comment was going to be, look, this is a pretty standard thing that the Department of Energy Resources highly represents. It's a standard thing that's happening across multiple towns throughout Massachusetts. The language in there is pretty substantial to make sure that we hold any ESCO responsible for this. So there are cases, we asked them even during our interview cases, have they had to pay anybody and what were the issues related to it? Part of the ongoing responsibilities after entering into agreements with them will be some yearly monitoring to check in to make sure that we are receiving the savings that are quoted to be same, and they will have to justify and look with us. And if there's anything that doesn't line up, they will have to point where the deficiency is or otherwise write us a check.
I'll just add that I talked to Chelmsford. They did this about 10 years ago. And just as Paul said, every year they go through all of their savings. And if for some, and their ESCO is right there with them, verifying those. So there is a point, they're around, they can't just take off. Jody?
Yes, so just, I just want to point out that Paul and Eric actually brought this to Capitol last fall, and Capitol told Paul that this wasn't Capitol. We're not talking about HVAC, we're talking about Amoresco. So then he took it back away from Capitol, and we went through the select board and so on. But I welcome any of you, not a quorum unless you're going to post, but I believe that we are having every Friday meetings with Amoresco at 1:30 virtual to discuss this and moving forward. And moving forward, I'm going to have our town treasurer and Dan and Jesse and Pat from the schools and Christina and anyone else that's interested participating in these meetings, because it is new to me. I know Paul, I think, has done similar things before, I believe, and Eric did in one of his prior towns, but this is new to our town, and I'm delving in right now with both feet to really understand this for the long term before I recommend it to town meeting. So, but Heather, no one asked for a vote at Capitol. I did not get the sense that Capitol disagreed with this. And I think if you were looking for a vote, I guess I wish you would have asked them to vote, because I did not get the sense they were not in support of moving forward with this article. So anyway, I just want to mention that because we were all there and I did not see anyone dissent. So I just think they didn't call for a vote.
Yeah, no, I think people were in favor of it. I think the timing was what one of the questions was, and I think there were some open items too. So I think my thought anyway was that perhaps it wasn't ready for a vote.
I mean, again, we're differing on our opinion. I think the fee went up, or the amount went up from 1 million to 1.6. I don't think Paul had a firm figure before. And at Capitol, he presented the 3 options, with the 1.6 being the most expensive, but what they were recommending, PTBC, clean energy. And I did not see any dissension, but you're right, they did not take a vote, but I didn't get the sense they were waiting for us to come back again. So you all do what you want, but I think if that was what we were waiting for, we probably should have asked them at the meeting for a vote, so.
Okay. Does anyone else have any comments or questions?
I have one more.
Sure, go ahead.
So is there any insurance if they go insolvent? It looks like since their IPO, they haven't had a quarter where they've hit their revenue targets. They sort of got routed in Q1. Their IPO was a little bit ago, and they're only 22 years old. So signing a 20-year deal with a 20-year-old company, if they ever hit insolvency, do we have insurance? Is there like anything on that?
Paul, can you answer that?
I can't answer that. No. Nope.
Maybe, can somebody look into that, Jody?
Yeah, we will look into that and the other question earlier about the contract. So we'll be happy to look into those 2 things. Thank you.
Are we ready to make a recommendation, or would you like to get these questions answered?
Yeah, Christine?
Yep, Dennis?
I would like to get those are critical questions, both of them.
Okay.
So I think I would feel nervous about voting on that without having some answer on that. So I'd like to defer it for a while, till next time.
If we defer, I think our next meeting is like May 19th. What's the timing on that? Because I imagine select board is going to want our input before they vote. So what do we do here? Dan?
So the FinCom book is going to the printers on May 20th, the day after the FinCom meeting. So if the select board want to wait for your vote, then their recommendation will not be in the FinCom book.
Okay. Heather?
They may not be worried about our vote because they've obviously already supported it by giving it 500,000.
Okay. Tom?
So I think the concept of this is something that we theoretically can get behind. And again, it sounds like the company was selected through an RFP process. So I would trust that process led to fully vetting. While yes, I agree that some of these questions need to be answered, I do think that those are questions that can be answered before town meeting or at town meeting, and that information can be shared. And I think even at that point at town meeting, if the information comes back and members of the committee or selectmen feel differently, we could either take a separate position or speak as individuals in opposition. I, for one, would be ready to take a position to recommend this.
Okay. Paul, did you have something to add to that?
Yeah, if I can, I'll be honest. I looked at this part. There's a whole Amoresco article that I know is going to be deferred to special town meeting. As I look at this article, for me at least, this was the initial short-term gain of how do we take care of the Cameron Senior Center at its best. And one of the things that I discussed at Capitol was that in order for me to take care of the Cameron Senior Center the best way possible, I needed to make sure that I removed the restrictions of Chapter 149 and public procurement that way. Public procurement, generally, you have to take the lowest bidder proposing the lowest furnished costs, and it becomes quite challenging to rate an appropriate spec. If we were to continue on with that route, we would need additional support when it came to hiring a civil engineer, a structural engineer to get this project out the door. And additionally, since this project is slated to be $1.6 million, there is another Mass General Law requirement in which we would need to hire an OPM as well. Amoresco has all these professional services, and they will also have an investment into us. And additionally, one of the biggest things that I was always after was making sure that I could control the quality, the craftsmanship quality, as well as be able to specifically say, this is the brand, this is the make, this is the model. I want this stuff going into the Cameron Senior Center, and this is the way that I want to do it. We had a designer come forward and did his own independent mechanical design. That was CES, a well-known mechanical engineering company. And so they did the design, and Amoresco is going to interpret that design with CES's oversight of that to help us with the procurement and the installation, the oversight, and the rest of the drawings that are needed. So from a short-term perspective, this doesn't really have, and excuse my ignorance here, I hope that these comments don't come across the wrong way, but I just want to see the best product go into the Cameron Senior Center. And as long as it's done correctly, we don't really need to worry about the 20 years. I mean, obviously it should always be a worry, but our biggest thing is to make sure that the highest quality product goes in. And as long as we get that, the quality of the 20 years is going to follow suit accordingly. I forget what the other question was off the top of my head that had some bearing that was referenced. But for me, I look at it, this is the best way, in my opinion, to make sure you take care of this small project and to control the quality with it versus alternatively going in another direction. Thank you for that opportunity.
Thank you, Paul. Jody?
Yeah, so one thing I was going to say is with the select board, when we do their packets ahead of time, if they have questions that we may not be able to answer at the meeting, they try to let us know, like we could have easily had Amoresco attend this meeting, but we didn't realize that there would be these questions about the agreement. So I'd just like to suggest in the future, if you think you're going to have some questions that we may not be able to answer, please let us know, because we would have been happy to have Amoresco here tonight to help. And we will have them at the select board meeting on Tuesday night. So anyway, I wish we had them here, so.
Okay, thanks, Jody. So I'm ready to take a position tonight. Tom said he was ready to take a position. I think Dennis and Heather would like to wait. Can I just hear from the other people? I don't need to know whether you're for or against, but I just want to know who else is ready to vote tonight, or should we wait? Beth?
I'm ready to vote tonight. I think I have plenty of information to make.
Okay.
the
Hari? Are you're ready? Sorry.
I'm ready.
Okay, and Ingrid,
Yep, I'm ready.
you're ready? Who did I miss? I think that's about it. Okay.
I would say I
Jeff-
would also be ready with the caveat that if there's no backstop at all for insolvency, then I would probably reverse my comfort.
So if we get further information, we can always revote our recommendation. But let's get a recommendation now. If people want to abstain or vote no, obviously that's your prerogative. So if I could have a motion to recommend Article 6.
I would move that we recommend Article 6.
Okay,
Second,
all right, thanks. And all in favor, Tom,
Aye.
Heather,
Abstain.
Hari,
Yes.
Ingrid,
aye.
Dennis,
Abstaining, need more info.
Jeff,
Aye.
that was an aye. Okay, Beth,
Aye.
and I'm an aye. Okay, so it passes, or not unanimous. Okay, on to Article 7. Appropriate funding for the construction of a new fire training facility and establish a stabilization fund for the possible future relocation of the training tower.
Great, so this has to do with the 35 Town Farm Road building and the sale of that. So basically, they're gonna build residential houses in that building, which most of them will be low income. In order to do so, we need to reload or to just build a new fire training tower. And the spot that was chosen was 60 Forge Village Road. The thought here is that we will take the $580,000 out of capital stabilization. And then when the sale of 35 Town Farm goes through, after that, at future town meeting, we'll replenish the capital stabilization fund. Part of the caveat here is that we have to set aside $75,000 for the possible future relocation of the tower off of the water enterprise land. That was part of the agreement between the select board and the water commissioners. In order to do so, Jesse did speak with the Department of Revenue. We do have to set up a stabilization fund to make this work. So that's part of the article as well.
Okay, anyone have questions? Beth, do you still have a question, or is your hand just up from before?
Oh, my hand's still up.
Okay.
Sorry.
No problem. So no questions on this? Okay. Anyone want to make a motion to recommend?
So moved.
A second?
Second.
Sorry, okay. All in favor, Tom,
Aye.
Heather,
Aye.
Hari,
Aye.
Ingrid,
Aye.
Dennis,
Aye.
Jeff,
Aye.
Beth,
Aye.
and I'm an aye. So that passes. Okay, Article 8, Community Preservation Committee recommendations. I think Jesse's here to present to us.
Yep, I'll take that one. And before I do, I just want to mention real quick, just everyone at Town Hall, we want to offer our condolences to Marilyn on the passing of her husband, which is the reason why she can't be here. So just know that our thoughts are with her. So Saying that, on the community preservation, so the 332,000 is for a transfer to the Affordable Housing Trust. The trust plans to use the money to cover COVID project overruns for the Helena Crocker Affordable Housing Project. So the plan will be to transfer this money to the Affordable Housing Trust. And then when the time comes, eventually they'll give 400,000 to the Chelmsford Housing Authority, who's overseeing this project. And the Chelmsford Housing Authority will also be seeking an additional 500,000 from the state, just due to, you know, the recent inflation costs and whatnot with the project. Just as a side note, there's currently about $634,000 in the Affordable Housing Trust. Of that, 316,000 they've essentially allocated to projects. So just doing quick math, they'll have a little over 200,000 left after this 400,000 is spent. The 190,000 transfer to the Conservation Trust, I'm sure you've seen that in recent years. What we do essentially, or what the community preservation does essentially, is transfer 190,000, you know, over a 4, 5, 6 year time period. What that allows the Conservation Trust to do is act quickly if a open space parcel comes up in town. They don't need town meeting vote to spend that. So if they have to act quickly, we don't have to call a town meeting or something like that in order to purchase that parcel of land. Currently, the balance in the Conservation Trust is 572,000. The next project is for $5,940. It's the installation of town bike racks throughout town. I believe the locations where they will be installed are the American Legion, Jack Walsh Fields, VFW Fields, Grassy Pond, Stony Brook Conservation, and Neshoba Brook Conservation. And you know, partially why the project is so cheap, it's essentially just the bike racks that we're purchasing. The highway department will be installing them for us, which is great. The next project, $176,450 for health, that is for the Healthy Lakes and Ponds Collaborative. That will include 1 year monitoring, treatment, and water quality testing and sampling at 7 different water bodies throughout town. The next project, $41,415, is for tennis and basketball court design at the Jack Walsh Fields. So currently the tennis courts have been closed for, I think, a couple of years now due to safety issues and unusable condition that they're in. So this design will look at the best ways to reconstruct and design the Jack Walsh Fields, and also look at accessibility issues and potential future amenities that could go on that location. The $75,000 for the Parkerville Schoolhouse roof. Initially, facilities director, well, Paul had asked if he had presented an asphalt roof, and the committee asked to replace the roof with a more historically age-appropriate roof, something cedar or slate, I believe. And I think the bid came in for a cedar roof, which is hence why the cost is $75,000. The $139,707 for the Robinson Playground. If you remember on this project, $594,000 was initially approved last year. The school and Paul had hoped to reuse some of that existing equipment when they are incorporated into the replacement of that. However, when they got deeper into it, they realized that because of safety issues and just the condition of the equipment, it wasn't going to work. We were going to have A+ playground equipment in some areas and like a C or a D. It just didn't make sense for the long term of the project. So Paul came back and asked the community preservation for just under 140,000 to essentially replace the entire equipment at the playground. And the final CPA recommendation was for 189,000. It was funding for the Robinson Tennis Court project. 750,000 was appropriated at the June 2020 meeting. However, once again, because of COVID delays, the project inflationary costs have increased. Paul just recently opened bids a couple of weeks ago, almost 172,000. So the 189,000 covers the 172,000 inflationary cost, and then a small contingency of around 18,000 or so.
Thanks, Jesse. Anyone have questions on any of those? Tom?
Yeah, more of a comment than a question. On the Robinson playground equipment, and again, this is probably before Paul's time, but I believe a few years ago, the day school parents had to raise their own money to replace that equipment. And I just hope that going forward that we have a more uniform way of maintaining these facilities across the town and not relying solely on PTO and fundraising events.
Paul?
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity to comment on that. And the CPC brought that up during the initial meeting, and really grateful for it, because I was really able to work hard with Pat Leonhardt, the business director for the schools department, and we were able to agree to set some money aside using the schools revolving account that we were going to establish to make sure that the schools will do their justice in supporting the project necessary maintenance, as well as ongoing. Next time we need to move forward with the capital project for that location, we'll be able to pitch in, some money there to show some funding support. Thank you.
Thanks. Anyone else have any questions?
Dennis has his hand up.
Okay, Dennis, Ingrid, and then I'll go to Dennis.
I just wanted to, how much are the tennis courts then in total?
Right at 800, just shy of 872,000 for 8 tennis courts.
Okay, thank you.
Dennis?
Yeah, Jesse, if you could comment on the 176,000 for the water quality situation. I was under the impression that both DEP and the State Department of Public Health test water quality. So is that true, or what's the reason that we're not duplicating it? That's all.
So that I thought, Ray, are you out there? You may be better able to explain that. Sorry to put you on the spot. I'm not sure myself, but
No, that's okay. The Department of Public Health and Mass DEP do not test the water bodies. They will come out if there's an algal bloom, and they'll test for cyanobacteria, but they do not provide annual surveys.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Ray. Anyone have any other questions? Okay, not seeing any. Could I get a motion to recommend Article 8? Anyone?
I'll recommend Article 8.
Thanks, Heather.
Second,
Second, thank you, Ingrid. All in favor, Tom? I didn't hear you, Tom. Did you?
Sorry, aye.
Heather?
Yes.
Kari?
Aye.
Ingrid?
aye.
Dennis?
Aye.
Jeff?
Aye.
Beth?
Aye.
And I'm an aye. That passes. Article 9, amend the wage and classification plan. Jody, is
Okay.
that you or Dan? Dan, okay.
Sure. Happy to walk through this. So when Jim Duane left, the town, we decided to restructure the recreation department and move some of the duties that were under Jim to DPW, which I think is something we had talked about, but wanted to wait till there was a job move. So we, in the process of doing that, and let me just go out and say that the Personnel Advisory Committee has supported all these changes. So I think, Dan, I think we might need to add that, but they have seen all this and supported it all. But so we reduced the band of the recreation director since we moved parks and cemeteries and grounds. So it became a band 6 from a band 7. And the assistant town engineer, we looked at our market basket the last couple of years. That position was below grade by about $10,000 because that is a full engineer. So we asked to raise that to a 6 so we could pay that person adequately. The operations manager, parks, grounds, that was a position that we bargained to change. That came out of a union. And so you see the band there. The staff engineer is the stormwater that was approved that had not been established. So we established where that band would be. The sustainability coordinator was a new position, which has been funded by a grant. So we established where that band should be with the Personnel Advisory Committee. And then the community wellness coordinator, who I am pleased to say I just hired this week, we established that band too. So then if you move down, because we have a DPW now and this highway superintendent retired, we did reduce that band, if you remember, from a 7 to a 6, but we feel it's better to call that an assistant DPW director. So we changed the job description and we're hoping the town meeting will support that. The health department asked to change the name of their director of environmental services to assistant health director. The select board did support that. And actually the select board supported the other changes I've already talked about. And so the band did not change, just the title. Principal assessor, we would like to change that title to chief assessor. So he isn't required to be a member of the board of assessors, no band change. And then the highway operations supervisor became operations manager. Highway, no band change, but that was in line with the negotiated changes that we talked about up above. And then we are asking to remove some positions. The budget director was, I think you can scroll down a little bit there, Dan. That was Dan's job a long time ago. We don't have a need for that anymore. And then the administrative assistant to town manager, we have not filled that in many years. So we just want to remove those from the classification. So.
Thanks, Jody. Tom?
Yes, is there any downside to not having the principal assessor being required to be a member of the board?
I don't think so. I think that's the way it was when I got to town, but it's working well without having that person on the board, and he prefers that. So we decided to change the name, and the Board of Assessors are in favor of it too.
Okay. Thanks, Jody. Anybody else have any questions?
And I guess what I would just add without giving too much information is all these changes that we talked about up above did result in a savings to the town, which was reflected in the budget moving forward for fiscal year 23. Okay. We're still negotiating few of the changes.
Thanks, Jody. That actually answers my question.
Yeah, it was really to restructure, create efficiency, save some money, and I think it's working well, but we're still at the table on a couple of things. So.
Okay. Anyone else have anything? I'm not seeing anything. Can somebody make a motion to recommend Article 9?
So moved.
Thanks, Dennis. A second? Okay. Thank you. All in favor? Tom?
Aye.
Heather?
Aye.
Hari? Aye.
Aye.
Ingrid?
Aye.
Dennis?
Aye.
Jeff?
Aye.
Beth?
Aye.
And I'm an aye, so that passes. And Article 10, authorize revolving funds.
Great. So this is the article that we have each year that Jesse explained earlier. We're just setting the expenditure limit for the year. The only changes we have are to the immunizations and clinical services account, increasing to 75,000 and from, excuse me, 60,000, I believe. And the community gardens is in here at 15,000, as Jesse explained earlier.
That sounds good.
Thanks. Anybody have any comments or questions on that? Okay, somebody want to make a motion to recommend Article 10?
So moved.
Thanks, Harry.
Second.
Second, thanks, Ingrid. All in favor, Tom,
Aye.
Heather,
Aye.
Hari,
Aye.
Ingrid,
Aye.
Dennis,
Aye.
Jeff,
Aye.
Beth,
Aye.
and I'm an aye. So that passes.
Can I just ask a quick question?
Sure, go ahead, Heather.
Did the schools weigh in on that expenditure limit for the school bus transportation?
Yes, Pat said that the limits are fine as they are.
Okay, thanks.
Thanks. Okay, Article 11, approve fiscal year 2023 operating budget.
So here's the budget. It includes the 6,000 in changes that Jody had recommended from to the select board budget, but here's what we've been discussing for the past couple months.
Anyone have any questions? Any more questions? At this point, this is sort of,
Well, it's culmination of all
Yeah.
the 2 months of work, right?
exactly. Jody?
Yeah, I just want to say that the department heads and the school superintendent and school committee, I mean, everybody really worked really well together this year. I think it's a good budget. You know, it's obviously tight as usual, but I feel really good about it. And it was just a really great process. And I just want to thank everybody who participated. So thank you.
Thank you, Jody. You guys really put a lot of work into this. And like I said, we've had, you know, four budget hearings on all the details. So at this point, it's not a lot of, you know, not a lot to go through right now. So if somebody want to make a recommendation for Article 11?
I think Dennis had a question or
Oh,
comment.
sorry, couldn't see you, Dennis. Go ahead.
No, I just wanted to say that of all the budgets that I've looked at for the last 5 years, I thought this was the smoothest and the tightest one, and I'd be glad to make a motion to approve it
Thank you.
or recommend it.
The second,
Second.
Hari, thanks. All in favor, Tom,
Aye.
Heather,
Aye.
Hari,
Aye.
Ingrid,
Aye.
Dennis,
Aye.
Jeff,
Aye.
Beth,
Aye.
and I'm an aye. So that passes. Article 12, appropriate Chapter 90 local transportation funds for roadway maintenance.
So again, this is the same article we have each year. This article just authorizes the highway department to expend those funds on roadway improvements.
Okay. Yeah,
I
this
move to
is kind
recommend.
of a standard. So, okay, thank you, Dennis. We get a second?
Second.
Thanks. All in favor, Tom,
Aye.
Heather,
Aye.
Hari,
Aye.
Ingrid,
Aye.
Dennis,
Aye.
Jeff,
Aye.
Beth,
Aye.
and I'm an aye. So that passes. And Article 13, appropriate funds from water enterprise, other post-employment benefits, stabilization fund to the water enterprise.
Again, this is my favorite article each year because it's talking about OPEBs. So the water enterprise is fully funded. So what happens is this is sort of model how it should work. Each year through the budget, the water enterprise appropriates 30,000 to the trust, and then we transfer money out of the trust to pay for the current year's retirees' health and life insurance.
And again, this is just sort of a standard article every year, right, Dan? Yep.
Yep.
Could I get a motion to recommend unless somebody has a question on it?
Move to recommend.
Thanks, Dennis. Second,
Second.
Second.
thank you. All in favor, Tom,
Aye.
Heather,
Aye.
Hari,
Aye.
Ingrid,
Aye.
Dennis,
Aye.
Jeff,
Aye.
and Beth,
Aye.
and I'm an aye. That passes. Article 15, authorize the select board to acquire easements for the Plain Road Sidewalk project.
We need to find on that.
And Dan, can you walk us through this one?
Yeah, so the funding for this is actually in the capital article, the $670,000 bond issue. But we want to address this just in case there are any issues. Here, this article actually authorizes the select board to take easements and whatnot, and they can expend the money out of the capital article to do so.
Anyone have questions on that?
Yeah, I do.
Dennis, go ahead.
Yeah, the question I have is, do we, since we've approved the capital budget, do we really need to even take a position on something like this?
Dan and I sort of debated on this, and we thought just to make it crystal clear that we should probably take a position.
Okay.
But you're right. We approved a capital, so
A little redundant, so.
a little bit, but I think it calls it out that there's actually money for it. Anybody else? Can we get a motion to recommend?
So moved.
Thanks. A
Second.
second. Thank you. All in favor? Tom,
Aye.
Heather,
Aye.
Hari,
Aye.
Ingrid,
Aye.
Dennis,
Aye.
Jeff,
Aye.
Beth,
Aye.
and I'm an aye. So that passes. Okay, Article 17. So this is amend chapters 51 and 22 of the general bylaws to reduce the number of finance committee books to be printed and discontinue mailing the finance committee books to households. So I hope you all took a look at the wording of this. It's really to change this so that we send out essentially what's called kind of a postcard to everyone, giving a summary of the warrant articles, the voter registration deadline, all of the same information that we send for special town meeting to each person's household, with additional information on how to access their electronic copy or a printed copy. Anyone have any questions on this? Tom?
I just have one thing, I overall do appreciate it. I would think about a friendly amendment of adding either the police department or the fire department as a location that's a 24/7 location, just to make it accessible to those that are not in town during business hours.
I'd support that.
I would as well. Jody?
Just FYI, the town hall foyer is open 24 hours a day. So that is a location that is available 24 hours a day. The foyer is not locked.
I would just wonder how many people would assume that as opposed to knowing that there's someone at the police department 24/7, that's all. And I'm not saying put a huge stack, just
I mean,
having-
I'm not objecting to it. I'm just letting you know that the town hall foyer is open, but if you want to put it at another building, that's fine too.
Okay. I have no problem with that. Do we need to add it to the bylaw, or do we want to add it on as additional information? Because obviously not everything we're doing is in the bylaw. It doesn't say to contact the town manager's office to get a copy. You know, there's certain things that are not necessarily in there, but do people think that it should be listed as one of the locations?
Point of order.
I would think that it should be listed if that's the intent. Because while we may know that we want to have it there, I don't know about everyone else, but I don't plan on being on this board, 100 from now. So.
Okay,
The point of
Heather?
order.
go ahead, Dennis. I'm sorry, what?
What you would do is, what I would recommend, what you do is Tom made the motion, I seconded. If you took a vote on it, then it goes in as an addition. Everybody approved it. And that way
Okay.
you got a clear voice on it, you know?
Okay. That
I
sounds
think we're
good.
still discussing.
Yeah. Does somebody have
I do.
something on that about putting it at the police station and the fire station?
I do.
Okay, go ahead, Ingrid.
I just think that we should be careful what we put in a bylaw. I think we can do the education with the postcard and any, mailing about where to find it. Because you don't want to change bylaws all the time. That sometimes it's better to not be as specific, and then because these buildings may change and the access to those buildings may change. That's
a good point.
just my 2 cents. I'm not crazy for or against the suggestion, but
Okay, that's a good
that's just
point.
my comment.
Hari, do you have something on the additional locations?
My thoughts are pretty close to what Ingrid had said. I would say is they will be available at least at 2 of the town properties or at town properties. I wouldn't mention 24/7 in there, and neither the actual locations or addresses of the town properties. So it becomes a responsibility of the town to provide them at a town property. But 24/7 and an address is more like an implementation detail that we don't need to write it in the bylaw.
So are you saying that what's written there now is sufficient?
I'm reading this.
I'm surprised it's in a bylaw.
Yeah, that's I think I'm good with that.
Heather?
I kind of thought Hari was going to go in a different way, but I kind of agreed with the 2 prior comments that it being the bylaw, maybe it should be a little more generic, 3 town buildings or something to that effect. I mean, just because I know potentially the library is going to be under construction, I don't know what happens then. And potentially the Cameron Senior Center is going to have a lot of work. I don't know. It just seemed like more vague would be better, but
Okay, I'm gonna go back to Tom then. Tom, do you want to make an amendment?
So my only concern about vague is it is a bylaw. And my training has been such that whenever we're talking legal documents, leaving less up to interpretation is better. Again, we know what the intent is, but down the road, 5-10 years down the road, is that intent still going to be followed? And I think if it's prescribed one way or the other, I think it needs to be prescribed what we want to do. And if it's three properties, that's fine. I think the other piece that, as I'm looking at these locations, it's good to have geographically diverse as well. But we are missing, and that's partially because we don't have town buildings in some of the areas of town. But I do think that it should be listed out what the intent is.
So do you want to make the amendment and we can vote on that?
Yeah, I would move to make the amendment of the addition of the police department.
I'd second it.
Okay, let's vote on that. All in favor, Tom?
Little discussion.
Oh, sure, yep.
So I'm just to the question of the bylaw. This is a simple bylaw, majority vote. This is not the type of situation requires a 2/3 vote, I don't believe. And bylaws are sort of regulations so that you should be able to change them if it doesn't work out. So I don't see the concern about adding something to a bylaw. I think so long as it's reasonable and specific and helps clarify, I would say it's a good idea.
Okay. Anybody else have any more discussion before we vote?
I'm ready to vote.
I'm not seeing anyone's hands raised. So we're just voting on the amendment. Oh, Jody?
So I guess I'd just like to be crystal clear, if you would like the police department after the town hall, but before the JV Fletcher, or if you'd prefer it after the JV Fletcher.
So that you don't have to
Yes,
move the and, I would just put it after the town hall.
okay,
Is that
Thank you.
okay, Tom?
sure. I
Is that
just wanted
yours?
to be
I'm not partial to alphabetical or geographical order. It's just, make sure it's listed.
We'll put it after the town hall.
Okay. Are we ready to vote? Tom,
Aye.
Heather,
Aye.
Hari,
Aye.
Ingrid,
Aye.
Dennis,
Aye.
Jeff,
Aye.
Beth,
Aye.
and I'm an I. So we'll add the police station. Jody?
You had a comment from Laura Dickey
Yeah.
asking, did you see that?
I haven't seen it. I didn't see
Okay.
it, but I know she was out there.
Well, she's asking, and you just voted on it, but to
Oh.
change your wording list of articles to summary of articles.
I think we just voted on the amendment, not
Oh,
Yeah,
good.
Whether or
yeah,
not
just,
to
just,
recommend.
just the amendment.
Thank you, sorry.
I was actually gonna make
That's
that,
why I let it go for now.
yeah, that's, I was actually gonna make that suggestion as well. To change list of articles to summary so that it matches what it says for special town meeting. So where we're talking about what's included in the postcard. Instead of a list of, and I can't see it because it's kind of covered, but a list of, yeah. So it's down. Dan, can you put
No,
your
it's
cursor on
actually
it?
up.
It's up, but it's like after, and it's still covered on my screen. So it says voter registration deadline. Go down. We're talking about voter registration deadline. Yep, and a list of, yeah. List of articles, summary. Change the word list to summary.
Do we need a formal motion on that, or is that a friendly amendment?
Should take a motion on it.
We can, I'll make the motion to change the word list to summary.
I'll second it.
Okay, thanks. Any discussion? Okay, let's vote. All in favor, Tom,
Aye.
Heather,
Aye.
Hari,
Aye.
Ingrid,
Aye.
Dennis,
Aye.
Jeff,
Aye.
Beth,
Aye.
and I'm an I. So before I get to Laura, I don't know if she has anything else, but does anyone else have any comments on this? Dennis?
Yep. As you know, the last time we voted on this, I voted against it, and I gave you some reasons why. And I don't know what that second comment was, but anyway, I'm willing to change my position, but I wanted to, I've done a little discussion, a lot of work. Some of it Christine is aware of, and I'm willing to change my position, but there's one thing I would like to add to this, a very small thing. I don't think it's too cumbersome, but at the very end of this, where it says in chapter 51, town meeting 51.2, at the very end, where just before the cross, just add in and the finance committee report. That way we reference and protect people, let them know that there is actually a finance committee report, and I'd be happy with that. So, I'd move that we add that.
Oh, and instructions on how to access electronic and printed versions of the warrant and finance committee report. Is that what you're
Yeah, it'd be,
saying?
yeah, version of the warrant and finance committee report,
Okay.
which lets people know there is a finance committee report.
I have no problem with that. I will. Did you make an official motion? Did you say motion?
I made the
Can
motion.
I just second it? Okay, I'll second that. Any discussion? And can we vote on that? All in favor, Tom,
Aye.
Heather,
Hi.
Hari? Hari,
Aye.
Ingrid,
Aye.
Dennis,
Aye.
Jeff,
Aye.
and Beth. Beth,
Aye.
and I'm an aye.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. So Laura has a question. Actually, Laura, I'm gonna, if somebody can unmute Laura or promote her, so I'll let you ask your question. Is she being promoted?
Yeah, I just send the link.
Okay,
There she is.
there she is. Hi, Laura, you can ask your question. She need to unmute herself.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, there we go.
Sorry. Apologies. Not used to getting added. So we were wondering if the full FinCom document would be available at annual town meeting.
So I think the original idea is that it wouldn't be, because it isn't available currently at town meeting. It's the motions document that is available at town meeting.
Okay. I thought I would picture, like, I guess there weren't piles of the gray newsprint ones. So,
Right, there isn't currently, so it was not.
so it would not be.
No,
Okay.
just the same. I mean, right now, when it gets mailed out, it says, this is your copy, please bring it to town meeting. And so the same, I think, would be the idea going
But
forward.
most people wouldn't have a copy at this point. So they'd have to make a trip somewhere else to get a copy if they wanted to bring one
Correct.
to town meeting.
Or they would have the electronic version.
Okay. That seems all right. Well, I mean, I figure, like, if you have all these extra copies sitting around in all these buildings, like,
I imagine if there are extra copies, then
Right.
Jody, I don't want to speak for you, but I assume somebody would bring extra copies, but I wouldn't want people to rely on them being there.
okay. And then our other concern was that the number of articles in an average town meeting is around 27. I think Lynn Cohen did the math, and it's about 27 over the past 5 years. I find it hard. I'm wondering, like, I know that the one-page summary works well for special town meetings, those tend to be shorter warrants. The annual town meeting this year is a little short, but that's somewhat unusual. And I worry that you'd be able to fit 27 articles on a summary of 27 articles on a single piece of paper. So we talked about it at our meeting last night. We felt very strongly that there had to be an effort to put as much detail about each article as possible in the mailing, and that would seem to be difficult even with one line.
Mhm.
So
I think
I don't know.
the issue with going to multiple pages is that I'm not, Dan, I'm going to need help on this one, but I think if it's more than one page, it gets a little difficult to do in-house, which is, I believe, the way that the special town meeting, I'm just going to keep calling it a postcard, is done currently, correct?
We've actually been sending that to Printing Solutions to print and mail each
Okay.
year. And that's a cost of around, $2,000+ to do.
Okay.
So I don't know if it would be, if you had something that was basically 2 pieces of paper but folded or something like that, that would give you a lot more room. It just feels really tight. I'm also curious, you said I was reading Christina's presentation on this, and that you said if we didn't have to print as many booklets, they could be printed in-house, but would they still be printed on the newsprint and stuff? Like, would it be printed? That seems like not something that you could do in-house, but maybe, I don't know what your town's printing capabilities are. But would the format of the booklet then change because it's not being printed in volume?
I didn't have a hand in that, so I'm going to need either Jody or Dan's help on that one.
Yeah, I don't think it would be in newsprint if we printed in-house. It'd probably be on regular paper that we'd have to purchase. And then it would just go through our printers, and we'd make copies and have so many available at each location for people to pick up.
Okay, that seems hard. I mean, that's like a lot of pages. So, I mean, it works when you're folding it as a book, when you're stapling it together on heavier paper. I just worry that if you start, will this basically make the size of the final FinCon document smaller than it traditionally has been? Or is it always going to be the same length as it has been?
I imagine it will be the same length. We're not planning on changing any of the content of the FinCom book.
Okay. And okay, and then what is the sorry, do you have like an estimate cost of how much cheaper the mailing will be for mailing a single page versus the book?
So Dan and I went through the math, and I believe the savings was about $2,500 all told. So it's not necessarily the money, but it's the amount of, paper for over 8,000 copies, mailing all that out, and then most of those ending up in the recycling bin. And the extra time that we'll have to create the book, put a lot more detail in. If you've got an electronic version, it's a lot easier to search. We can put links to backup documents. In fact, the link to all of the materials on the postcard will be most likely a link to either a page or a folder somewhere with everything for town meeting. It'll have, it can have the layout, it can have the motions document, the full warrant. We could even put past presentations in there. It could have a lot more information.
Okay, and that would be a single link that would be at the top of the postcard that would point you to all of this additional information.
And I'm envisioning a QR code as well, if people want to use that. So there would be both.
Okay.
Anything else, Laura?
No, I think that was, so it does sound like the paper, the printing, it doesn't really answer the question about how to fit a lot of warrant articles on a single page. I think that's still a concern. I don't know how tiny you're gonna want to make the print, but I think that would be our only concern. Well, I mean, I can't speak right now. The league's only position is that we wanted to see the list change to summary. So that's happened. So I can't really speak on behalf of the league for any other questions. These are just questions I came up with when I was getting ready for tonight. So.
Right. So we did change list to summary. So I think hopefully that takes care of part of your concern. And I think as far as fitting it on that page, yes, that may have to be a logistical hurdle that we get over, but we're not going to reduce the amount of information. We'll figure it out.
Okay. And yeah, I guess and this is just a comment that, you guys probably know, just like make it a really bright color so it stands out. Because if it's just maybe a single page versus, the somewhat distinctive looking booklet, it'd be nice if it would use all those fancy colors that they talk about at town meeting.
Sure.
But anyway.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, I'll take all this information back to the steering committee.
Great.
But thank you.
Thank you. And Angela, did you have a comment?
I just wanted to ask, in terms of accessing at what's now going to be the electronic FinCom book at town meeting, are people going to be able to do that when we're in places where we have no Wi-Fi or there's not very good Wi-Fi available?
So I would make the recommendation, it's going to be a PDF. And so people should download it ahead of time. I know if I were going somewhere with spotty Wi-Fi, which, generally you don't rely on, you would download it ahead of time. If people haven't downloaded ahead of time, then yes, it could be an issue. But I'll also point out that what we're talking about not mailing to everyone is the finance committee report with all of the numbers and the analysis of each department. Once you're at town meeting, at least for me, the motions document is a lot more important, which is available. Because that really goes through everything that we're voting on. So I don't know if that helps you.
Well, I understand what you're saying, but I guess I would, for those people who do want all the information that's in the FinCom book, I guess I would advocate for having, if only a couple of hundred, and they may be what's left over in town on the day of town meeting, but having them at the back of the room or the back of the field, so that for those few people who do want all that information, then they're not going to have to rely on the electronic version that they may not have downloaded or may not be able to access. I just think that would make it easy for those people to get
Sure.
at.
Okay, sure. Tom?
Yeah, just a couple things. On the layout of the sheet, I have full faith in many of the staff members that put together the town manager newsletter and other documents that between them and our creativity, we will make something that's aesthetically pleasing and easy to read, because we don't want to make it that you need a magnifying glass, but we'll include all the information we need to include. And if that ends up being a 3-page, it's still 3 pages as opposed to 20 or whatever it is. So that's that. And then I had a question in regards to Angela's statement, and that's if anyone has a sense of how many of the FinCom books have gone to town meeting and been left there. So, how many cases of those pre-printed reports do we haul out of town meeting after?
When we did take them to town meeting, they definitely were not all taken at the end, and I had to bring them back to the office afterwards. So, maybe half were taken out. If we had like 200 extra, maybe half were taken.
Okay. So is there any other discussion or anybody else in the audience that has any comments? I'm not seeing anything. Are we ready to take a position on Article 17? Could I ask for a motion from somebody?
I would move that we recommend Article 17 as amended.
Thank you.
Second.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor, Tom,
Aye.
Heather,
Aye.
Hari? I can't hear you, Hari.
Okay, hi.
Thanks. Ingrid,
Aye.
Dennis,
Aye.
Jeff,
Aye.
Beth,
Aye.
and I'm an aye. So that passes. Thank you, everyone. Okay, so we're gonna move on to standard agenda item that I have for board and committee updates, although unless anyone has anything specific,
No.
I won't go through each of these. I think we've kind of wrapped a lot of them up. Okay. All right, let's go on to the approval of minutes. Can I get a motion to approve? Actually, did everybody see them? Did anyone have any comments on either the March 31st minutes or the April 7th minutes?
I had some comments and I sent them in to Dan. But it was just clarifying some of the stuff that I had spoken in the meeting.
Do you remember which ones they were, Heather?
It was about the full day kindergarten, and I just wanted my comment in there that I thought it wasn't quite fair to charge our past kindergarten users for our future kindergartners. And what was do you have it in front of you, Dan? There was a second part of.
Sorry, for some reason it didn't save. So let me, I'm just gonna check the email that I sent you earlier today. We pulled off there.
And I don't know, I don't have them in front of me either, so I don't know which.
It's probably the March 31st ones, I'm guessing. I think that was the.
That's cool.
I have it right here. Let me just share my screen quickly. So they're on the April 7th.
Oh, okay.
So on page 2, I'll zoom in so you can read this.
Heather, is that good for you?
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay. So can I, and these are the April 7th ones, right? So if we're all set, can we do both of them at the same time? So can I get a motion to approve the March 31st and the April 7th?
I would make a motion to approve the March 31st and the April 7th as amended.
Okay.
Okay.
Second,
Are attendees both in the same thing, or is there anybody who attended one but did not attend?
that's what I was asking. Can we do them both at the same time?
Sure.
It's more. I'm just checking who is there any disturbance in attendance? Christina, Beth, Tom, Ingrid, Jeff. I did not attend the April 7th one.
Okay, all right. So then let's go for a motion to approve the March 31st meeting minutes.
So made.
Do you
Can
need
I
a
get a
motion?
second? Okay, and all in favor? Tom,
Aye.
Heather,
Aye.
Hari,
Aye.
Ingrid,
Aye.
Dennis,
Aye.
Jeff,
Aye.
Beth,
Aye.
and I'm an aye. And now April 7th.
I make a motion to approve April 7th as amended.
Thanks.
Second.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor, Tom,
Aye.
Heather,
Aye.
Hari,
Abstain.
Ingrid,
Aye.
Dennis,
Aye.
Jeff,
Aye.
Beth,
Aye.
and I'm an aye. Okay, so those are done. Future meetings. So we have a meeting on May 19th. And that'll be to go over probably the final finance committee book, if there's anything. And I'm sort of blanking on what else is on that agenda. Dan,
I think that's about it, Christina. So, I
Okay.
mean, last time we had this meeting, I think we met for like 20 minutes and that was about it, just
Okay.
to finalize. So,
okay, so it should just be a quick before town meeting. If there's anything else that we need to do.
And I won't be able to be there. I have a conference, so.
Okay,
I will also be out of town on the 19th, and I have a prior commitment on town meeting days as well. So
okay. All right. So we'll check on the quorum at that point. If the only thing we're doing is going over the finance committee book, we may be able to do that kind of offline. We don't need a vote or anything. So, all right, well, stay tuned for that May 19th.
we just can't, we have to be careful not to make any decisions via any other method.
Yeah,
If it's communication, just
Yep.
for open meeting law. So
exactly. So that should be it. And then annual town meeting, June 11th. And so Tom, you said you weren't going to be able to be there. But hopefully Jake will
yeah, I
be
have
back.
a commitment that day.
Okay. Okay. So for the finance committee book, we should have, let's see, Dan needs edits sooner the better, but definitely by the 16th, Dan, or earlier than that.
that's the drop dead date. So if you have
Okay.
the write-ups earlier, it's much appreciated. Just the more we get done, the sooner, the more time we have to review it.
Okay.
And we have a better product.
So if people could shoot for earlier than that, that would be great. And the other thing I wanted to talk about as far as the book is I think it's been the past couple of years, Dennis, you've written kind of a little, I don't know, summary to go in the front of our report.
I sent it to Dan today.
You did, okay. If anyone has anything to add to that, if you could just send it to myself and Dan. Just if there's anything else that you think voters should be specifically made aware of, or, you know, that we're watching out for, anything like that.
Can you send that document out to the rest of us then so we can?
I will do that, yes.
Just check my percentages, Dan, if you will.
I'll check all the numbers, don't worry.
Okay. Okay. I think, Dan, you know what, before you send that out, can we talk tomorrow? Because I may want to add some stuff to it before it goes out for that first round, just to give people a little food for thought. But I want to see what's in it in the initial version first.
That sounds good.
Okay. So does anybody have anything else? If not, we can adjourn.
Sounds good.
Okay, motion to
Motion to
adjourn. Second.
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 All right, do we have to go through roll call or can we all just wave goodbye? Okay,
Bye.
bye. See you guys later.
Thanks.
See you later.